teams that we believe that could fade. We're going to hit on a little of that in this hour and try and break out the crystal ball as far as second half Major League Baseball. We'll definitely shine the light on the Phillies and get you ready for what they have cooking with the Angels coming in on Friday. But other thing that I did want to bring up, really intriguing from the sports gambling standpoint, and it's always important for you to read the fine print. I get it. If you have $25, $20, hey, you know what? $20 is a lot of money to some people. Sure. But, you know, if you are putting a significant wager on the money line from an American League or National League standpoint, God bless you. But there are plenty of people out there that feel like they need to swing at it. And a number of sports books. See, the game was tied after 9 innings. The NL obviously won 4-3 thanks to Kyle Schwarber's perfect 3 for 3. Schwarber was plus 4,000. He was named the MVP, but did certain sports books did not pay out, and they ruled the money line bet a push. Circus Sports and Caesars ruled it as a push. DraftKings and FanDuel graded it as a win for the National League. And again, the house rules are at a premium. You must read the fine print, especially if you're going to put something of significance as far as the total amount on the line. But hopefully for the people out there that were wagering, we're using DraftKings and we're able to cash in. But something intriguing, and these are the things that pop up from time to time that, like I said, for the third time, read the fine print, Kyle.
You have to. House always wins. We talked about it a couple of weeks ago. Even if you don't think they're going to win, they figure out a way. So,
3 batters per team, 3 swings per batter, most total home runs, and the lineups were predetermined by the managers. And you said the players were into it, which is cool. You're right. I'm not going to argue that. But there were limited players to pick reserves from because many starters had left the ballpark early, according to Yahoo Sports. Now, I know how it works. They're out there. It's all-stars. You only get 4 days total off. If you don't make the game, if you do make the all-star team, you're probably you're back in action on Thursday. I think the first games are Friday, but you're back at the ballpark Thursday, you know, getting ready to go. So you want to get out of there, but you can't wait till the game's over. Really? You got to leave in the middle of the damn game. It went to a swing off, something that's never happened in the history of the All-Star game. And we got players leaving Atlanta. You got to love it.
Yeah, I didn't even see the report that people were leaving early, but I assumed like when Aaron Judge wasn't included, I just assumed because they showed a shot of Scooble like wearing a dress, a button down already. I was like, Judge probably got changed. His manager doesn't want to make him go back in the uni, but he may have left the building already. That's a little premature. At least Scooble hung around to see what was going on. That's
something we talked about last week with the situation. Forgive me. What was the umpire that screwed up?
Phil Cousy.
Yeah, there you go. And then last night we saw the ABS challenge used a number of times, including Scooble, you just brought up. And it was used 4 times throughout the game. That one specific, that was the only one I saw. But that's the perfect scenario. What you saw, how fast, I think it took 18 seconds. The big thing for me is the drama was there. So now imagine it's 3-2 count and, you know, runners on first and second, 2 outs. You're going to either load the bases or it's a strikeout. Guy starts to walk the first, you challenge it. Like, the drama is there with that call. I think it's really cool and something that Major League Baseball needs to implement now. Get it in there.
It was really fast. Yeah. Really well done. The guys who had done it in the minors liked it a lot. I didn't see many complaints coming out of spring training about it. Now we've done it on a national stage, and everybody got to witness how quick it was. It's coming sooner rather than later. I don't see why it's not here next season.
Yeah, it really needs to be, and especially as you saw it on that scale, and everything was fine. As I pointed it out, though, Schwarber did win the MVP, and Mets fans, including reporters, like, it's so odd to me. I don't know. Should it be odd to me? Because it should just be expected at this point in time that everyone's going to complain about something, like you said, with the fun part. But at the end, this is like a weird thing because it's an all-star game MVP. It means nothing. And you legit have Mets fans out there griping. I want to be fair, though. There would be Phillies fans on the timeline if Schwarber did get robbed and it went to a lawn. Like, people complain about the weirdest things.
Yep.
So that would happen no matter the fan base. So let's be fair about it. But for a reporter out there, someone that's like, in the world of baseball, and to be upset with the fact that, an all-star game MVP was rewarded to a guy who had a pretty good legit reason of winning it. I think you could have given it to Lonzo, sure, but Schwarber even heard it in the call. The announcers were saying like, "Hey, look, if he hits this third one, it's MVP awards his." He won it. He won the damn game.
I understand. Like, okay, if you want to say the swing off shouldn't matter as much as the game itself, fine. I mean, the swing off is what decided the game. But if you want to say that the game itself, and he went over 2 with a walk, Alonso hit a 3-run shot. Well, it wasn't enough, right? Whether it's his fault or not, the pitching staff didn't get it done, forced them into a position where you need a win. It's like in the Super Bowl when the quarterback plays great, but not enough to win, and then a key defensive play happens or a key catch happens, and that guy gets the award instead. Or Iguodala plays great defense and has one flashy game, so he wins the MVP over Steph, despite Steph being the better player all series long. It's like, yeah, should Steph have won it? Sure. But is it going to make or break anybody's legacy? No, it's a fun thing to talk about. Hey, remember when Iggy won finals MVP? Like that's a fun barroom talk forever. Yeah. But it doesn't make a difference. Like we all know if you can look at the box score at any point and see that Alonso hit that 3-run shot and you can be happy about it. If you wanted him to have his shining moment over the weekend, then he should have partook in the home run derby once again. Yeah. As a 2-time champion, but he decided not to. Oh, well.
Didn't have an opportunity to talk about the home run derby, but that was pretty entertaining too. The big dumper delivered in a big way. Cal Raleigh, the favorite, goes off and wins it. It was tough because as the bracket broke out and I'm looking and you had O'Neal Cruz, who was my player, my wager. And then of course, the big dumper himself, Cal Raleigh. And it's just like, yep, whoever wins that is going to win it. And unfortunately, O'Neal Cruz did not get past Cal Raleigh, and Cal Raleigh credit where it was doing it. And the story is really cool from his perspective with the video on the timeline that, him in the backyard saying, I'm going to be the home run derby champion, and then doing it. You got to love that stuff.
And his dad's pitching to him, his brother's catching for him. Like, what a cool moment. He seems to be a really likable guy from everything that I've seen. I mean, I didn't dislike him before, but as his name has gotten bigger this season with how much success he's had, sometimes guys can be painted in a different light once they start to explode. And I've heard nothing but good things about him. I like that he's had a little bit of chippiness in the MVP discussions between him and Judge. That's been fun. Yep. But yeah, it was exciting for him. O'Neal Cruz, I mean, the way he started his first round, I was like, this is unreal. He was hitting them. Didn't he hit one over 500 feet? Correct. Guys were hitting them out of the stadium. Like that. It was pretty fun. I know that the format's a little different. It's way more fast paced than it used to be, but it's exciting nonetheless. And when you have guys who can still, despite kind of getting worn out and needing a timeout halfway through, who can still crush the ball 500 feet, it adds to the excitement. It's still an exciting product, whether it's what you're used to from your younger days or not. I thought he was really good. I thought James Wood really solidified himself. He had a great showing. Raleigh to hit 470 plus from both sides of the plate. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw Vinny Pasquantino tweeted about him kind of like in a sarcastic way. I'm not going to say everything because it's not good for radio, but yeah, clearly just like such a fun, everybody enjoyed it. Everybody enjoyed the whole weekend. That's what these all-star festivities are about. To see players get involved, whether they're at the game or not, is always fun. And it's always worth paying attention to. For me, the home run derby still to this day for me is more appointment television than the all-star game itself. I happen to get to watch both, but yeah, home run derby was great on Monday.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of home run derby over the years, and I thought they did a great job there too. And you knew that like O'Neal Cruz was going to hit some bombs, like you pointed out. Thought there was some good names in there. Of course, it'd be great to see Shohei back in there. I believe he competed, if I'm not mistaken, before Judge. It would have been great to see some of the bigger names, but at the end of the day, let some new blood get in there. O'Neal Cruz hit some cruise missiles. I thought that was a really good job. I do want to bring up also that was a big talking point, and a lot of people are opinionated when it comes to Pat McAfee. but he is clearly one of the best in the business when it comes to introductions and, of course, just being the hype man, the MC, and his co-host, whatever. But I thought it was a good, look, that's not easy. One, two, it's rolling the dice and trying something new, which I appreciate across the board. And I thought it was pretty damn good. And I'll tell you what, if he gave him another opportunity, I know that they would do even better. I would have liked a little bit more of interaction with said player that he's announcing, almost like Bruce Buffer. I needed like a Bruce Buffer style where McAfee would be introducing him and he's pointing to him as he's walking up. But I thought he did a great job. And I know that there's some people out there that just want to hate anything and everything all Pat McAfee. Is it raining where you're at?
No.
I'm picking up some wild sounds over there. Anything? You got the AC blowing on the mic?
Yeah.
That's what it is. Okay.
I'll turn it off in the first break. It's hot in this room.
Are we in a wind tunnel right now? I thought it was like the tin roof raining.
I was on a show this weekend. It didn't pick up, so I thought I'd be okay. Sorry about that.
You're right. Well, we're picking that bad boy up. Cool in my room now, right now. No, but I thought McAfee did a great job. And I know that, like I said, he is a lightning rod, and people always have something to say about him. My favorite was the people on the timeline going, I'm just trying to enjoy the home run derby in peace. And it's like, shut up, dude. It's the home run
show.
derby. Yeah, it's like, come on, man.
Yeah, I don't get the hate on him. I think that there's something to be said about somebody who can just be a jack of all trades. He has his show, which he built, his following through. He can do college football. He can do NFL. He can do wrestling. He can do intros. He can do a little bit of all of it. And ESPN is big on these personalities. That they've really focused on a few people to promote over having a lot of journalists or a lot of media personalities. There's like 5 people that they focus on over there now, and he's one of them. And I did get a text from one of my friends yesterday, which is, I don't get the appeal for Pat McAfee. But like, okay, then, but do you hate it? No, like, would you have cared if it was Carl Ravitch instead? Like, what's the difference to you? Why does it matter? Like, if you're not into that stuff, then it didn't matter who it was. And if you're hating on it, then you're probably just a Pat McAfee hater. Like you said, It's people hate success, and whether you love the guy or not, you don't have to be his biggest fan to appreciate that what he does is difficult and he does it really well.
Yeah, I think the criticism is fair. If you were one of the people that would say it's just too much, he's way too, all over ESPN. And I think that is a fair criticism, and even for Stephen A. And the one article we referenced a couple of weeks ago where we were talking about how, what was it? What was it? The NBA Finals was watered down. It was just if I remember correctly, it was the fact that Stephen A is anywhere and everywhere in ESPN. So therefore, when you do get a big opportunity like the NBA Finals and Stephen A is featured on it, it just doesn't make it big, right? Like if Stephen A is your number one dude, which bar none he is for ESPN, like it or not, it's just the reality of the situation, then you need to make him that. And I get it. You're paying all this money, so you need him to use in all these spots, but give him the draft off. He has his first take show. If the NBA Finals are going off that week, then take him off of sports, whatever you got to do. But I do think that was fair criticism and something that they should probably take inventory on. I don't know if they will. Nobody really cares. Obviously, spending all that money. But bottom line is, back to McAfee, I just think he does a great job. And I thought that was really cool and fun. And it was an intro on and then off. So keep it moving. That's all.
Yeah, he didn't commentate the whole thing. He didn't do play-by-play. He did a fun intro beforehand. And if that's not your thing, then wait for the event to start and then tune in. It's not that hard.
That's it. One last thing on the All-Star game real quick. I like I said, I didn't really catch everything, all details, but I looked up who was pitching to Schwarber, and it was the Dodgers third base coach, Dino Ebel, I believe is how you say his name. He said, this is from MLB.com, Ebel would be thrown to Schwarber, who had only 3 cuts to try helping the National League to victory. Quote, he asked me right before, where do you want it? Schwarber said. I'm like, just middle. He's like, I got you. Great, dude. See ball, hit ball, smash ball. And apparently it was a brand new bat, too, for Schwarber. So nice work on that one. First Phillies player in history to be named All-Star MVP, joining Johnny Callison, who won the award back in 1964. He's also the first DH to win the All-Star game honor. I got this newsletter sent to my inbox from DraftKings yesterday, a matter of fact, and it was like almost the first half MLB recap. You know how like at the end of a year, like iTunes or Spotify will send you all the songs that you played and everything like that, and everyone post it. Well, that's what DraftKings is going for, and I think it's a great job by them. But the number one player that I wagered on Major League Baseball first half was Kyle Schwarber, and I'm like, that sounds about right. Of course, I did not even look at him for MVP. We didn't even talk MVPs, to be honest with you. Maybe a bad job, but at the end of the day, like there's so many changing of the players where it's like they're in, they're out. It's a tough market, right? Like I'm not going to sit here. It's borderline guessing. That's what it is.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, you could have picked the last guy on the bench. You could have picked the closer for either team, and there's 9 closers to pick from. Like it could have been anybody. You could have picked Kershaw because they wanted to say he got a big out late, and they wanted to.
There you go.
And they wanted to give him the honor on his way out. It's unpredictable, especially when you have players like that in there. So probably a smart move to stay away.
Yeah. All-Star game over. Now we hit the second half. And the question that I would have here, Kyle, and it's a great one for you. And let's start with our backyard first. Like the expectation for the Phillies and the NLE/Mets. And that's where, like, I think, everybody's mind needs to go to about winning this division first. But I guess the big question that I'd ask you is like, how real do you think the Mets are? I think that this is now the 10th time that the Mets and Phillies have exchanged first place in the NL East throughout the 60% of the games played right now, which is telling you everything you need to know. That it's probably how this is going to play out in the second half. This is going to be a battle, and those future matchups are going to be bringing a lot of juice in this rivalry. So I'm wondering where you're at with as far as a team to fade. Is it possible you could be having the Mets in that category?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, their strength of schedule in the second half is a little bit tougher than the Phillies. They have some starting pitching questions. They have some guys who have overachieved to this point in the season. We've seen a lot of guys who overachieve in the first half start to fall off in the second half, whether it be due to fatigue. Like Clay Holmes was a reliever last year. Is he going to be able to keep this up all season? What are they going to get from Sean Manaea? Does Kodai Senga come back healthy? There's a lot of questions in that rotation. And while everybody's going to be in the pitching market, and yes, the Mets can compete with anybody when it comes to price tags, but how many starting pitchers are really going to be available? I think there's usually a few more bullpen pieces available than starting pitchers. So while the Phillies are going to attack the back end of the bullpen, even if they don't get a top tier guy, there's going to be more options available for them. Whereas I think starting pitching, it's a thinner market. Yes, I think they'll have to attack it hard. Let's say both of them come out even, Mets and Phillies, as far as acquiring their filling a hole in their pitching needs. I think it's going to come down to who adds a bat. Both lineups are pretty top heavy, all things considered. Top of the Mets order, I think their top 4 hitters all have 18 plus homers. They have a lot of firepower at the top, but it really falls off some of the guys like their third baseman, Vientos, Alvarez, a few guys who you expected to take a step up have taken a step back. Same with the Phillies. Bryson Stott did not take the step forward that people thought. Brandon Marsh has been red hot, but can he sustain that? Max Kepler and Johan Rojas, you're essentially getting nothing from in the outfield. So if they can find any consistency and add a bat, whether it's a major impact bat or not, just somebody who's more consistent at the end of those lineups, I think will be the big difference maker between those two clubs the rest of the way.
They open up with the Reds on Friday. Once again, the Angels coming to Citizens Bank Park. Now, on the flip side of that, remove the bias. Where are you at? And I know you kind of answered it there with, hey, look, whoever is aggressive and gets the right piece at the trade deadline, you're probably going to give them a little bit more of the edge. But realistically speaking, do you see the Phillies fading? Is this a team that maybe people should be? And again, I know it's not easy for Phillies fans to swallow their pride and place a wager on it. I'm not asking you to do that. But for the person that is not a Phillies backer, is it possible that this team could be a team to watch out for as far as fading is concerned in the second half? Like, what could possibly go wrong? In my opinion, if I could answer my own question first, I would just say, like, the pitching staff it starts and ends there. The starters are the starters. And even if they do lose 2 or 3 games, eventually Wheeler's going to get the ball, or eventually, Sanchez is going to get the ball, or eventually Rangers are going to get fired up and get it going. You got Nola returning, which I do expect him to be something significant when he does get the opportunity to get back out the mound. Who knows with Painter? I just look at the starting pitching, and I know statistically speaking, the ERA, the Mets have a better ERA, and they have wowed me all season long in that category, because I did not think that they were going to be good this year just based off of the starting pitching, but they proved me wrong. I think the Phils will be fine with the starting pitching. So fading, no. What do you say to that, Kyle?
Yeah, I think the starting pitching can carry you. They may not be as explosive offensively, especially if they don't add a batter. If Harper doesn't stay healthy, if they need to rest him a lot, I think you're going to see a lot of these up and down stretches that the offense has experienced over the last couple years. But that starting pitching will put you in a position to win every single night. It's a matter of how many times do you waste one of those great starts from your starting four. If Aaron Nola can come back and add even more stability, that gives you more flexibility. We'll have to see how that turns out. We won't know until after the deadline. Of course, I think they could take a step back, right? I mean, they were so hot the first 2 months, and June, which is typically their best month of the year under Rob Thompson, they struggled. So far in July and through June, they're playing 500 ball on the nose. So that's a sign to me that they've already begun to fade. The question is, do they come out of it even stronger, or is that fade going to continue up and down? We'll have to see what Luzardo looks like. Is he going to kind of get past these struggles that he's had a little bit over the last month? Is Sanchez going to continue to be this dominant force? I think Wheeler, you know the answer. Sanchez, yeah, he did it last year, but is he going to do that? Does Suarez fade again? It's going to come down to the health and the consistency of the starting pitching, just like it always has. They have big names in the lineup, but this team is built on the back of that starting rotation. So if they can stay healthy, fade a little bit, sure. Still in contention for one of the best records in the National League, also sure.
Yeah, 55-41 at this point in time. 55-41. Cubs 57-39. LA Dodgers 58-39. So that puts things into perspective there. And again, with a half game lead here on the New York Mets, 55-42. Oh, a half game right behind the Phillies there. What about key player for you? We just talked about the pitching staff. If you were to single out one player of significance for the Phillies, maybe to maintain this lead, albeit it's only half game, but just to keep the foot down, pedal to the metal, keep things going, winning a bunch of games here, and end up with 90 plus wins, lock in the division, which is always a goal at the beginning of the season. So a great deal, a great box to check. Get that nice pennant out there in the outfield as well on the flagpole. It's not the big one. We understand it, but it is a stepping stone. So is there a key player this second half that you have your eye on? I know you brought up Stott earlier. Would you go him? Would you look a little bit more power? Where are you at from a key player perspective for the Phillies in the second half?
I mean, I hate to state the obvious, Sean, but the success of this team starts and ends with Bryce Harper.
Gotcha.
You saw what the offense looked like when he was out. They sputtered at times. They were missing someone who lives for the moment, who delivers the dagger. They've done a great job of adjusting their game plan and getting a lot of pitches out of starting pitchers. A lot of guys taking walks, taking singles, taking what the pitch and the defense gives you. That's been a big challenge for them. But as a result, they've almost become too passive, and they need somebody who lives for that moment. He has the nickname the Showman for a reason.
Amen to that.
And the big thing is this wrist bothered him last year. It crept up again, and it resulted in an injury stint this season already. They've talked about, he said he felt healthy, but when he first returned from the injured list, he talked about how this is going to be something that they have to manage, and he didn't feel fully healthy at that time. Who's to say that it doesn't bother him again shortly? If he gets hit in the elbow again, that sends shockwaves up the arm. Just regular season, just hitting the ball a lot, hitting a lot of pitches off the end, or if he starts to go opposite way like he did in San Fran with that big game, does that start to bother him again? And then they need to either put him on the injured list again, manage it more often where he's sitting out. There's a lot of questions still to be answered. And I think that the offense goes as he goes. He is the guy who delivers when they need it most. And it was obvious that they were missing that in the month of June with him on the shelf.
7 for 16 in his last 4 games, including that 4-for-6 performance against the San Francisco Giants when they won 13-0 1 week ago today. So that's pretty cool stuff there from Harper. Hopefully he's able to keep it going in this second half. Like you said, it is pretty much the easy answer. You're right. It's Bryce Harper. We talked about it when he came immediately back after the DL and he had the game against Toronto. And it's just the vibes are so much different with just him in the lineup, putting, the stats to the side and what he's capable of. If I was to go off the beaten path just a little bit, and it's not even that because you're talking about day-to-day players, Trey Turner would be a guy that I think could, Schwarber's definitely somebody in my mind with the power, the bombs, no doubt about it. But Trey Turner, and now that he's back into the top of the lineup and what he's been able to do defensively, somewhat improving. I still don't think he's all that good of a shortstop. That's an argument that Luke Arcania and myself like to have. But at the end of the day, dude can get up to the plate and rake, and he's very capable of doing some big things, both power and just finding gaps and tearing it up on the base path. So Trey Turner, if I could not use Bryce Harper, I would say Trey Turner. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think he's the table setter. He's done everything that the club asked him to do. They asked him to focus on his defense. He's done just that. He's become an average shortstop instead of a below average one. That's huge for a team that struggles on defense traditionally. Thompson challenged him to change his approach at the plate so you could get on base more. He's done just that. But like you said, we know what he can do when he gets on a hot streak. He can deliver at the plate. He can deliver the big dagger when they need it. He's a guy who definitely could carry them for a stretch if they need it. If Harper goes down again, Kyle carried them at the beginning of the season. In the middle, it was kind of a group effort to get to this point. I think Harp is going to have to carry them for at least a month, and then we'll see if Trey is the guy come maybe late August, September. But you're not wrong. Trey Turner is who he is. He got paid all that money for a reason, and he's definitely a guy who can carry the offense if they need him to.
Great article over at MLB.com. Todd Zalecki's been covering the Phillies for a long time. Great breakdown for the second half. Games remaining 66 total, 35 home, 31 away. Remaining strength of schedule, 17th in Major League Baseball. Key series he has written down here. Really interesting stuff as we look into August 25th through the 31st. Phillies play 7 consecutive games against the Mets and Braves, starting with 3 games on the road in New York. 4-game series against the Mets at Citizens Bank Park from September 8th through the 11th. It's the last time the Phillies and Mets will play each other in the regular season. And in the 15th to the 21st, Phillies have a 6-game road trip against the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. So a little breakdown of the second half schedule for the Phillies. It's exciting. It'll be here before we know it on Friday, and looking forward to it, man. It's been a great first half talking to you all first half, obviously getting your coverage down at the ball yard. So keep that up, Kyle, and great job across the board on a very good first half, sir. Finish strong, as they say. Let's keep it going.
Oh, yeah.
All right, staying as far as Major League Baseball and trades, we'll just squeeze this in real quick. I do want to hit some NFL with Kyle on the other side. We're going to talk about some offseason additions. We actually got a little bit of a ranking. We're going to go head-to-head here, top 3. But as far as trade deadline is concerned, and it's right around the corner, September, July 31st is the date. I said this to Luke on Monday, and I'm curious to know your thoughts, because when you look around the standings, there are a lot of teams that have a lot to play for. I just don't know how long that list is going to be as far as potential trade prospects, right? For players of significance that could come in and fill a hole for this Phillies team, whether it's a bullpen, whether it's a bat. But you look around the league, you look around just to go to the divisions, the AL East, there's 4 teams that are all neck and neck. The Tampa Bay Rays are in 4th place. They're 5.5 out of first place there. Detroit in the Central. Now they got a lock on that. That's the Central is the ugly one as far as the American League is concerned. AL West, you got the Astros, the Mariners, the Rangers, which there are a ton of players that are being rumored to be possibly on the move there. They're potential for the wild card. You're not going to do anything in the division. The Central is stocked up a little bit. The Reds are in 4th place. They're 7.5 games out. The West, obviously, you got the Dodgers that are the top dogs, but in 4th place there, Diamondbacks are 47-50. They're 11 games out, but still don't know how inclined they would be to make a move with the Phillies, but who knows? Anyways, is that concern to you? Does that concern you at all that there are a lot of teams still with plenty of potential to play for in this second half here?
It's definitely going to limit the options. I think this deadline is going to come down to the wire. A lot of teams are going to see how they look in the next couple weeks before determining whether they're going to sell off pieces and whether it's going to be a full sell or whether they're only going to trade guys who have expiring contracts. The earlier the Phillies can get some of these targets, the better, because it's going to be extremely competitive. If the Red Sox, for example, look great the next 2 weeks, they're definitely not trading anybody. There's already rumors out there that they are more than likely going to hang on to Aroldis Chapman and see how they look the rest of the season. He was one of my top trade targets for the Phillies. So that's somebody off the board. The Twins are under 500. There's been all this talk about their bullpen pieces. But if they start to look good, that division behind the Tigers, it's anybody's race. Buxton already said he wants to be a Twin for life. Maybe that encourages the front office to add instead of subtract, or not, at the very least, not trade a controllable arm like Johan Duran. So it does potentially impact the availability. I still think the Phillies are going to swing big regardless, based on everything that we've heard and reporting the last couple of weeks.
All right. A little bit of a conversation on all things Major League Baseball. And it was a great first half. Let's keep it going. And maybe we can make a couple dollars, find those teams to fade, find those teams that we think are going to be major players when it comes to playoffs. A lot to discuss over these next few weeks, and hopefully will result in a Phillies division title and then a little bit of some magic in the playoff run. We'll see what happens there. All right, other side, though. Let's get it on over to the NFL because we are inching closer. Man, we are so close. We're going to have a game at the end of the month of July. We have a preseason game at the end of the month. So we got live action, Tracy, coming our way. Eagles kick things off against the Bengals on the 7th of August. So we get our first preseason game. So I actually want to talk a little Eagles with you on the other side. I got two big questions as far as the Birds are concerned, but also we're going to hit on the biggest movers as far as the offseason acquisitions for NFL. Top 3. That's right. We're going head to head. Rank the top 3 new players in new locations and the impact that they will have. Kyle's got his list. I got mine. Also on the other side, we do have some breaking news when it comes to the world of Fox Sports, who has went through some scheduling, shuffling of the schedule. Let's just say that much. But an interesting name or two could potentially be heard on these airwaves. And I'll give you a little bit of that on the other side. Really intriguing stuff here. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to give them a thumbs up. Fox, they're rolling the dice big time, man. They're rolling the dice big time. And I like it. I think it's about time. Let's just put it that way. We'll hit on all that and more. I got Kyle Fisher with me for hour number 1 right here in the Daily. Take a more after this.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
95 southbound, Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. And then in Delaware County, it's crawling Ridley Park to Highland Avenue with a crash. Northbound 95, heavy Allegheny to Bridge. Westbound Schuylkill Jan, University to Barton Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound backed up Boulevard to South. To tell a total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Positive Coaching Alliance.
Got issues with youth or high school sports? Positive Coaching Alliance can help. PCA, a national nonprofit, offers more than 1,000 free online resources for youth and high school sports coaches, parents, students, and administrators. Visit PCADevZone.org.
Make the most of your summer without stressing your budget. Use the Zip app. With Zip, you can make more happen this summer. From front row at a baseball game to last-minute grocery runs for that BBQ. Zip lets you comfortably pay over time with a flexible payment schedule. You can use Zip online and in-store, almost anywhere Visa is accepted. Learn more at zip.co. Loans through Zip Pay Anywhere and Zip Web Checkout, including any powered by Zip loans, are originated by WebBank.
The following heartwarming yet informative scene is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Son, your grandpa and I used to work on this car together. And when I'm gone, I want you to have it.
Wow. Thanks, Dad.
Doesn't count. What you need is a will. Luckily, Trust and Will makes it easy. Designed by attorneys, but customized by you, you can easily create a state-specific, legally valid document that actually counts. Now, let's let the engine do the talking, am I right? Start your will at trustandwill.com. Use offer code COUNT for 10% off and make it count. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. For details, see trustandwill.com.
Looking for the perfect outdoor dining experience with a view? Join us at Randall's Restaurant located in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. Don't miss out on our summer promotions, including the return of Burgers and Brews Night every Tuesday with delicious chef-crafted burgers paired with a refreshing selection of brews. All-day happy hour on Sundays in July and August, and Wine Fest coming in late August with over 100 different tasting selections and live jazz music. More details at randallslegacy.com. That's randallslegacy.com.
You see what I see, love?
Our grandson splashing his mom with a cannonball?
You. Having heart failure is hard enough, but now you're having trouble opening the sunscreen. Carpal tunnel acting up again?
Yep, and there are my stomach issues. And how tired I am. I could use a nap.
Let's take a dip, and then we're calling your cardiologist to see what's going on, okay?
If you have heart failure and something's off, it may be ATTR-CM or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis. It's a serious heart condition that gets worse over time. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com.
Seeing what I see? Ask your doctor about ATTR-CM.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
You've got apps for everything. Music, photos, even ordering coffee. But only one app gives you the live radio experience. It's radio your way. Anytime, anywhere. Join the millions already listening. The free iHeartRadio app. The #1 app for radio.
All right, Takis fans. Wendy's knows you love your Takis Fuego chips. So we thought, why not make a Takis Fuego meal with a Takis Fuego chicken sandwich with spicy chicken topped with crushed Takis Fuego chips and creamy corn spread. Plus, it comes with Fuego fries inspired by Takis and a bag of Takis Fuego chips. If we had any more heat, we might start an actual... I told him this would happen. For an intense new take on Takis chips, gotta be Wendy's.
Limited time only at participating U.S. Wendy's. Includes 1 ounce Takis Fuego chips while supplies last. Takis and Fuego trademarks are used under license.
Man, I hate this course, Moose. I always lose so many golf balls.
You're still buying those overpriced balls, Harry?
What other choice do I have? Premium balls aren't cheap.
They are if you get them from buymyballs.com. I told you, that's balls with a Z. Same top brands, way less cash.
Wait, so you're playing premium golf balls and don't care if you lose them?
Nope. I just reload and keep swinging it and dinging it.
All right. First thing after this round, I'm hitting buymyballs.com. Stop overpaying for premium golf balls. Get yours at buymyballs.com. That's balls with a Z.
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No. Call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Tell you what, summertime. I got a limp mic. I still got a limp mic. Oh, gotta get a screwdriver. That's what I need. You know what else I need right now, Kyle Fisher? I need some Ritas, man. I scooped up some Ritas over the weekend, and nothing better than those frozen lemonades. A nice sweet treat. You get, and you know, like the best thing is for the kids too, like the small little cups, the kid size. It's perfect. It's perfect. So satisfying. It quiets the car ride. And like I said, small, so it's not the worst thing. But Ritas. Check them out online for a location near you, ritasIce.com. And make sure you sign up for the rewards, too, as well, man. They're always giving you some great coupons to work with. And the more you buy, obviously, the more you earn. So ritasIce.com. Download the app and go try their new flavor that they have going on right now. It's the red, white, and blue pop. The Rocket Pop Ice, a blast of cherry, lemon, and blue raspberry there, Kyle Fish. You Rita's guys, sir?
Yeah, man. Give me the gelati blender every day of the week, man.
Oh,
give me that. If you haven't been to Rita's in a little bit, it used to be called the Misto Shake. Now the gelati blender. Do yourself a favor and get yourself one of those bad boys. Man, I used to get myself sick. I would drink so many of those things. Not because anything they're doing. It was absolutely fantastic. I would get two like an idiot and just get sick all day. So great, great product there. And who doesn't love a little bit of real fruit in their water ice?
Yeah, that's it, man. Good people too, always behind the counters over there at Rita's. We are 50 days away, Kyle Fisher, from a kickoff between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. 5-0. Football season is here, folks. You know the link will be rocking. So check out TickPick, the official fan experience partner of the Philadelphia Eagles. No hidden fees and the lowest price guaranteed. Don't get benched. Get your tickets now at tickpick.com before the best games sell out. That's concerts, that's events, that's games, tickpick.com. With that being said, let's get into some NFL conversation, Kyle, because now is the time that you start to look around. You're going to make your futures bets. Some people already have. I'm not one of those guys. And you start to really take inventory of the changes too. And oh, by the way, off-season stuff always happens. Look at Najee Harris. He just ended up taking a firecracker, firework off the head, apparently, and one blew off. Yeah, and a bunch of people got injured, and it blew up somewhat in his face, if I'm not mistaken. So they don't expect him to miss much time, but I did like the move of Najee to the Chargers. And of course they got Hampton over there. So the style that Harbaugh wants to play. So you look around at some of the new pieces that are in new locations, and it got me thinking. I wanted to have a little fun game with you and find out where your brain is at when it comes to the top 3 new players in new spots and whether or not you think they're going to have a productive season this year. So let's get into that. If you would not mind, you start. Let's go number 3. Go lead us off here, sir.
So number 3 for me, as far as top off-season additions, I went a little bit outside the box. Not somebody I saw on every single list, but Joey Bosa to the Buffalo Bills. They needed to revamp that defense. They went defense heavy in the draft, and adding a veteran like Bosa to an already strong structure out there in Buffalo. They traditionally have had good defensive teams. Maybe it's waned a little bit these last couple seasons. We all know how good Josh Allen and the offense can be, regardless of who his weapons are. But they needed to do a little bit of a reset on the defensive end, and I think Bosa is going to help lead that charge. And also having a veteran presence like that on the defense for their young guys coming in is going to be huge for them going forward. So I think whether it be just this season or the next couple seasons, Bosa's impact is going to be felt up there in Buffalo for a couple years.
I like that. You're right. That's not a name we're seeing on the list all that much. And look, with that team and that style of play, with everything that they have built and continue to build in-house, they signed a bunch of players that were already on the team, rewarding them with the contract. So, Buffalo, it just stinks, but you got to be realistic about it because it's a new year. I know it's real easy for us to sit here and just get trapped. Oh, the Chiefs are going to do it. They're going to do it. It doesn't matter if they play in Buffalo or Kansas City, they're going to do it. And you're probably going to be right. But there has to be that one year where Buffalo is able to make it because they are building it up and they're doing it the right way. So, and Josh Allen is a hell of a talent, but Bosa, you get him in there. If he can remain healthy, I do like the impact he'll have on the defensive side of the ball for the Bills. I like that. All right. Number 2 for you.
Number 2 for me is we shared lists beforehand, and I didn't want to repeat anybody that you put.
I like
so. I think somebody who is, again, somebody who I didn't see on a lot of lists. I'm trying to pick guys that aren't maybe the go-to guys in these conversations, but definitely will have a major impact. I went Jonnu Smith for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, they did a little bit of rework on that offense. We know that they're bringing in Aaron Rodgers. They trade away Pickens, but they bring in DK Metcalf. And if they had all these weapons and Justin Fields was there still, okay, might not be as exciting. That's why I think that people might default to Rodgers. But Smith had the best season of his career. He's been under the offensive coordinator there twice before and had career years. Each time he was under the offensive coordinator, who's now currently with the Steelers. So he has familiarity with him. Rodgers loves attacking the tight end position. He loves going there. And DK is going to get more of the coverage and action just because he is who he is. Smith is coming off of a career season, and they've also said that they want to move him around a lot to different positions. Sometimes he's going to be the tight end, which he's a decent blocking tight end. They want to move him into the slot sometimes to kind of be that second weapon alongside DK. So I think you're going to see a lot of versatility from him, especially early in the season. And I think it's going to be huge for Rodgers to have coming into a new situation, a guy who's familiar with the offensive scheme that the coordinator wants to run.
Yeah, no, that goes hand in hand. You're right. And it's a big reason why he ended up with the Steelers, no doubt about it. He did play really well last year. So
he did.
One thing I did see is Rodgers doesn't really use tight ends all that much, if I'm not mistaken, if I did read that correctly, but you never know. We'll talk a little bit about Aaron Rodgers because, full disclosure, he's on my list. But at the end, I just think that things have to change with him. Right. And he knows it. It's his final stop here. Tomlin's his guy. So let's go ahead and see what's going to work. I know they're going to try and some new things. Don't get me wrong. But I think Smith is a talent. So you want to get him involved. So maybe it's not like your normal tight end, receiver. And those guys don't really, play that way anymore with these tight ends that are coming up like Laporta, and these guys are just freaks. And the numbers that they throw up, and Smith is capable of putting up some decent numbers, especially with Rodgers as quarterback. So we'll see how that one plays out. All right, number 1 on your list, Kyle Fisher, take it away.
So you are not going to like this because every time I've brought this guy up in our previous conversations about most improved teams, you weren't a fan of it. I know that Eagles fans are going to hate me for this pick, but I have to go with the Commanders bringing in Laramie Tunsil.
Wow.
He is one of the best tackles in the entire NFL.
Except for last year.
Was it except for last year?
He was terrible last year.
Only Lane Johnson had more games where they didn't allow a single pressure.
Tunsil did not play well, if I'm not mistaken, for the Houston Texans. I don't stick my toe into the statistics for offensive linemen. All right, that's where I draw the line.
Only PFF one guy had a low pressure rate allowed. He didn't allow pressure. He had more. Only Lane Johnson, who we talk about how good he is all the time, had more perfect games than he did last season.
Then why did the Houston Texans let him go?
I don't know, because the Houston Texans are a mess.
Well, they were a mess last year as far as stopping the pass rush, and they needed to improve on that without getting Stroud killed. And you're telling me they're letting go one of their best offensive linemen. Look, you're right. You're right. He has the ability to be one of the better offensive linemen, no doubt about it. And something that the Commanders needed was help on the offensive line. So I wouldn't push back on that. I do agree with you.
And one way that you help your young quarterback develop, a lot of guys come in hot and take a step back. One way you help those guys develop is by adding protection for them.
Sure.
If you can bring in this guy, one of the big issues that people had with him was he had 17 penalties last season, but 15 of them were pre-snap. Obviously, that still has to come down, but once the ball is snapped, he's just as impactful as he's ever been. And I couldn't tell you the X's and O's, but there's this guy, Josh Cohen, who works with us on the CBS crew, who broke down, because we had this same question. With all the names that they have on that Houston Texans offensive line, why is it that they cannot seem to protect their quarterback? And he said that the scheme and approach was more the issue than the players on the line themselves. Again, you'd have to go to him. You could probably find him on Twitter somewhere. He's not always on social media, but you can find him on there for sure. If you want to ask him yourself, or I'll try and ask him again early in the season and tell everybody why it didn't work in Houston last season and get that messaging from him. But he was bigger on the coaching and the scheme approach with their line than he was the names failing. And that's another reason. Yes, it's a little bit of insider info, Sean, that you weren't ready for.
I love it.
That's another reason why I think he's going to be very impactful going into Washington.
If this was around the horn, I give you some points.
There we go.
No, nice work. And Tunsil, like and even if, let's just say I'm right, and he wasn't as good as what we remembered him to be last year, whatever. It's still a new spot in a new system where, we know the type of player he could be, the potential. And now you put a little chip on his shoulder, right? He's out of Houston. They didn't want me. Now I'm in the Commanders. Of course, you get a little bit of a different quarterback. Stroud can make some plays with his legs, but Daniels is definitely a little bit more fleet of foot. Let's just put it that way, comparing the two quarterbacks. But Yeah, Tunsil is a big name. So we'll see if that's going to pay off for the Commanders. But you have to give them the credit for going out there and seeing that they needed to upgrade at the offensive line and doing so by getting Tunsil. All right, great stuff there from Kyle Fisher. You can find him on socials at Kyle Fisher 45. My list is this. Number 3, I'm going Rodgers. And I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan off the field. On the field, he throws one of the prettiest balls still at 40. What is he? 44, 40. I don't even know how old is he. He's 40 plus. He's up there. How old's Aaron Rodgers? 41?
I think he's 42. 41. 41.
41 years
He'll
old.
turn 42 during the season.
And that's got to concern you, right? Like you're banking on a 42-year-old quarterback remaining healthy.
Threw the ball pretty well last season, all things considered, though.
That's my point, Kyle. I always come at people when they say negative stuff about the way he played the position last year. He wasn't good. I get it. You watch the games. I watched a few too many Jets games, to be honest with you. But he was a guy that I tuned in for. They have good weapons with Wilson, really good weapons on that offense. And I just thought, okay, they're going to figure it out eventually. Never did I think that they were going to be a Super Bowl contender or anything worthwhile, but I thought that they would start to put up some numbers on the offense, and it just never happened. Partly because of Rodgers, no doubt about it. But again, offensive line was atrocious, and anything and everything that could go wrong with that team did. Firing the head coach, general manager, you name it. It was just a complete mess with the Jets. Back to Rodgers, though. When you pull up his numbers last year, 28-11, threw for over 3,800 yards, 63% completion percentage. And what we were talking a little bit earlier with Jonnu Smith, I just feel like the direction – Tomlin is a good coach. He's a damn good coach. He knows what needs to be done with Aaron Rodgers. This isn't Aaron Rodgers MVP. This isn't Aaron Rodgers when they won the Super Bowl with 09 with the Green Bay Packers, whatever it was, 10, whatever. Bottom line is he is a good quarterback that I don't think Tomlin is going to put him in a troublesome area. So I do expect him to get out there and perform well. And oh, by the way, just being simple about it, is it an upgrade versus Justin Fields, upgrade over Russell Wilson? I believe it is. So give me Aaron Rodgers, number 3 on my list. Anything you want to add on that?
No, I was just you kind of hit it right there, but he has more left even at almost 42 years old than Russell Wilson showed you last season. So I think that it's at least an improvement. And like you said, Tomlin's a good coach. He knows how to work with veterans. He's a guy who's going to put him in the right positions week in and week out.
2 and 1 on my list are similar. And the reason why they're similar, it's because of the situations now that they're in. And number 2 on my list is George Pickens. And I just feel like when you have a guy like CeeDee Lamb, who is potentially the best receiver in the game, he's up there with Justin Jefferson. Flip a coin, I'll take either one. And that's no disrespect to JJ because he is tremendous. But CeeDee Lamb is a guy that I loved coming out of college, and I just was gutted when he ended up with the Cowboys. And I do expect him to have an unbelievable season this year. Look at what he was able to do without Dak in there. And now you're adding Pickens into the mix, who is very capable of going over 1,000 yards, has great reach, can go up there and make the plays. I just feel like, okay, you're going to take your eye off of CD for a second and guard Pickens. Well, he's going to make you pay. And then the same thing is going to happen as well, where it's like, okay, if you're going to still double up CD, I think Pickens is going to eat. I really did think that they hit a home run by getting him. I know the head is the most important with him, but it seems like he's in a happy space. Everybody loves to play for Dallas with the attention at the beginning of the season. We'll see what song they're singing at the end of the year. But bottom line, as far as an offseason move, thought it was A+ get by the Dallas Cowboys. Your thoughts?
I agree. Putting a high-end talent next to CeeDee Lamb works well for both guys. It should, in theory, at least. And with a healthy Dak, look, Eagles fans can hate Dak all they want, but he's a consistent player. He does the right thing when he needs to do the right thing. Maybe you could talk playoffs another day, right? He's in a division where he's just been beat out quite a few times, hasn't gotten it done the big moments, but we're talking regular season success. He's shown that he can be a really strong NFL quarterback year in and year out. That's why he got paid. That's why he's still there. The Cowboys aren't patient. There's a reason that guy is still leading the way. So if he can stay healthy to have another weapon like that, I mean, look at what last season it was CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. You don't think this is a much better combination than that? No offense to Brandon Cooks. He's better than I'll ever be as far as an NFL wide receiver, but it's a noticeable jump in a second in talent at that second wide receiver position. So yeah,
no doubt about that. Yep,
huge
no
impact.
doubt about that. Yeah, so we'll see how that one plays out down in Dallas. Again, I still think the Eagles are a better team, but I do expect the Dallas Cowboys to improve this year. It's still struggling at the running back position, which was a huge deal for them last year. But we'll see what happens this year. Again, as far as throwing the football with Dak, I do have confidence in it. Now Adam Pickens to the mix. It's going to be nasty. All right, number one, like I said, similar situation, because to me, this is an easy one. And I'm not saying your list is wrong or anybody, but like the number one offseason acquisition that is going to have an impact is a guy that we looked at for a few seasons as the best wide receiver in the game, and that's Devontae Adams.
Oh, yeah.
And you're putting him in L.A. with Stafford and McVay, and, oh, by the way, a talent in Puka Nacua, who, if he can stay healthy, that's a big if, because I had him last year on a fantasy squad, and he has I forget exactly what it is. It's not the turf toe, but it was always something ridiculous, the knee, and it's just like, man, not all that durable, but a hell of a talent. Again, you're putting Devontae Adams in there with a chip on his shoulder. It was a disaster to end up with the New York Jets. I have no idea why he wanted to do that, other than the fact that he wanted out of Vegas that bad. But his name doesn't really carry the same weight as it once did. And I think shame on those people that do feel that way, because he is going to have an unbelievable season with the LA Rams. And I would be fully expectant of him to go over 100 grabs, 1,000+ yards, and just be the number one guy for that Rams team. You think about great offensive minds, right? Stafford, absolutely. We know his ability and he can sling it with the best of them, but his brain is top notch. McVay, same thing. Devontae Adams is one of those dudes. So now you got some awesome offensive brains all together in the same offensive system. I think sky's the limit for the Rams. I like them to win that division. I still think the 49ers are going to slip up. They had an atrocious season last year. Tell me who else is going to compete with the Rams in that division. I'm not seeing anybody. I love the Rams this year, but Devontae Adams, easily number one on my list.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, maybe his name isn't carrying the weight that it used to across the league, but look at what he did the last time he had a strong quarterback throwing to him. He over 1,500 yards with Derek Carr in a rough Vegas team.
Yep.
Yeah, last year was what it was, but he's going back to having an elite coach and an elite quarterback. He's basically taken the spot that Cooper Kupp vacated when he moved on to Seattle. So it's Puka Nacua is another weapon. His growth should continue, which takes some of the eyes off of Adams. And like you said, if he plays with a chip on his shoulder, we could be looking at a Randy Moss type of return when he went to New England under a great head coach and good quarterback. So definitely a very impactful. Maybe I think, but for name and impact, we should have had your list go first, because mine seems so pitiful compared to yours. But I took mine based off of yours.
In fairness, exactly. I sent you my three, and I said you can't pick these.
True. That's true.
And so you played the role well. Quickly on the Seahawks, because you brought up Cooper Kupp there. Am I downplaying them? Of course, Sam Darnold's going to be the starting quarterback. I'm not a Darnold guy, never was. I just think Minnesota has a great system, great coach, and, nice work by Darnold for making it happen and ending up in Seattle with a new contract, new spot, everything. But your thoughts on the Seahawks this year as far as the outlook is concerned? Where are you at right now?
Yeah, I mean, they have some good names. We'll see what it looks like. I don't know who their offensive coordinator is. I know that McDonald's more of a defensive guy at the head coaching position. So we'll have to see what they look like. If Darnold learned a lot and retained a lot and wasn't just doing whatever the system told him, then maybe he's going to look close to what he did in Minnesota. And when you have a guy like Kupp, if Kupp can stay healthy, maybe they look strong. But if you're downplaying them, so am I, because I'm not super excited by what they did this offseason. Improvements at certain spots, sure. I don't know if you'd rather have Sam Darnold or Geno Smith, but for me, it's show me before I really buy stock.
Clint Kubiak. He was hired in January 2025, replacing Ryan Grubb. He was served as the offensive coordinator for the Saints. Kubiak, he believes in balance, blah, 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 blah. I'm reading a quote now, a bunch of coach speak. But bottom line is we do know the last name, no doubt about it, but that is the offensive coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. It all starts and ends with Sam Darnold. We shall see how that one plays out. All right. Finally, I'll get you out of here on this one. Did you read that Joel Embiid long piece today?
I haven't read it yet. I saw somebody mention it this morning, and I was pretty busy with the day job, so I have it saved. I just haven't read it yet, but a lot of mixed emotions from people so far.
Yeah, I was thinking about reading the full thing in the next hour. I heard it's really long. I was like, you know what? I burn a segment just reading the full thing. I will tell you this much. I clicked through it, skimmed through it, read a few posts on timeline as well. It's Joel Embiid. It's our guy. I love him. I always will. But at the end of the day, man, it's what have you done for me lately? And I get it. He's a warrior. He's a badass. And I for crying out loud, I got a dude, the mural in my basement. Like, starts and ends there for me. But what have you done for me lately? And next year, I just don't have a good feeling about it at all. And I know that this article is making people, look back, and maybe their criticisms were a little off. And I never criticized Joel Embiid until, the conditioning is the big thing that I would always have an issue with. But, dude always picked up these dumb injuries to no fault of, and it wasn't his fault, the Markelle Fultz, the wrist, like, things happen. He's a big dude. The knee, Bell's palsy out of nowhere in the next series. Like, he's a warrior. But, I just, these long think pieces that they want to tug at your heartstrings. Like, I don't have time for it, man. I really don't. And that's just where I am at, like, in my initial vibe before I dig into this. But, I know it opened up talking about his 11 bathrooms where he has towels with his initials on it. I'm like, all right, here we go.
Well, I personally, like I said, I haven't read it yet, but I like to learn more about the men that I'm seeing on TV every single week. And I like to see honest looks at them. The more we get athletes telling the stories themselves, I think the less honest look we get at them. And that's through no fault of their own, but you never want to paint yourself in a bad light, especially when you know that it's going out to the masses. And when a third party, in this case, who was at ESPN, right? When they get a chance to tell the part of the story for you, it's a more honest look. So I'm excited to look at it. I think what he does to himself emotionally off the court matters a lot. And, the question is, does it impact him? But I'm not here to judge him based on that. It stinks that those things have happened to him. I feel for him as a man. I feel for him as a person, for the things that he's gone through with his brother and the fact that he puts a lot of that on himself. But when I look at the Sixers' outlook this season, I'm not going, well, he had a dust up with Marcus Hayes, so let's give the guy a break. It's like, no, look, you still need to go on the court and deliver. That's how we judge you in this league. As a man, I'm going to judge you differently. And I hope that this piece gives me some additional insight in how I should hold you, not on a pedestal, but how the positive light I should hold you in as a man, because I already hold him in a strong light for what he's done on the court. So to be able to do so with more information about his personal life off the court is a positive thing for me. At the end of the day, if I'm going to analyze the Sixers, I still feel comfortable criticizing the guy regardless of what that article says.
Hey, man, cousin Nicky checking in. Kyle Fisher knows ball. You're damn right he does. Be sure to find him. Kyle Fisher 45 does a tremendous job covering all things Philadelphia sports for the Philly Sports Network. Make sure you're following those guys and girls over at Philadelphia SN as well. Yeah, one quick one as far as the Sixers are concerned. That's another thing, too, with the Paul George news that came down on Monday. Like, I can't talk about Morey in the same manner as I was. Like, I get it. He's drafted well, but he gave these contracts. He gave these contracts to Paul George, a 4-year deal, which is going to be a disaster of a deal. And then Joel Embiid, he gave him a new contract. And I know, at the end of the day, I'm probably giving him that new contract as well. But did you have to? Like, you are in that position to make these difficult decisions and to get this team to the promised land. And you did not do that with either of those decisions. So Daryl Morey, if he's like, his seat better be hot. That's all I know. I have people telling me both ways.
I agree.
I agree. I can't do it anymore, man. Daryl Morey, like, if this is how it's going to play out this year and it has that vibe already, and I'm excited about the new blood. I do. I like McCain. I love Maxey, Edgecombe. I'm ready to see the young athletes out there. No doubt about it. But, man, these contracts were disasters, and Morey was the man in charge. So, sorry, I'm not looking at him in the same manner anymore.
I know that you can't assume that everything else would play out the same, but assuming that everything did, let's just for fun, would you rather have given James Harden what he asked for or moved on from Harden and brought in Paul George? I think I didn't love moving on from him in the first place, even if he is at times a headache. I thought that it was a good fit for them. They didn't get enough time together on the court, and maybe it wouldn't have gone well, right? Maybe you draft different players because you have a guard instead of a forward, but it's starting to look a little more painful, which is unfortunately a common theme with the Sixers era.
Yeah. They were pretty successful with Harden and Joel, and I know it was talked about in this article where they were talking about the pick and roll and JoJo, and again, Morey, he was the main lightning rod with that one.
He was the guy who brought him in, and he was the guy who sent him out. So
shipped him out. Yeah, exactly. Picked him up at the airport. Hasn't talked to him since. Kyle Fisher, you the best. What do you got cooking over there, man? What's the next piece you got going on over at the Philly Sports Network?
We're doing a few trade deadline pieces across the board for the Philly Sports Network crew. My guy Corey Naito just dropped one this morning about how two of the potential targets I touched on it earlier, but Buxton and Chapman are likely off the trade market now. So kind of pivoting where can the Phillies look to fill some of those needs. I'm going to revisit the piece that I put on the back burner, the 2-for-1s, now that we have a little bit more clear picture of where people are. I'll be working on that, and then we're going to have some a piece one of us is going to do by tomorrow, who from the All-Star game that we just watched could be a potential target for the Phillies. So we'll have a couple nice pieces on the trade deadline coming up, and then I'll be on my live stream on Alley Talk on Friday, talking all things Phillies ball for the second half.
You the man. Kyle Fisher 45 on socials. Always a pleasure, sir. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch up later this week, man.
Thank you, sir.
My man, there he is. Once again, Kyle Fisher on the Gambler stream. Kyle Fisher 45. We keep it moving. 4:00 hour. I'm a little late for a break. Other side. Let's talk about the 76ers for just a second with the regards to the article of Joel Embiid. I'll give you my thoughts on a few of these lines and want to know your thoughts out there. Get involved in the conversation at Fox PHL Gambler, at Fox PHL Gambler. We also have our final major in the golf season. My goodness, that we have to hit. We'll fire up the odds at DraftKings Sportsbook. A lot to do, limited time. More daily ticket after this.
The Gambler, Philly's home for all things sports.
Summertime is here, and who needs a cool grand in their hand? Fox Sports The Gambler has you covered. Listen weekdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and at the top of every hour for your shot to win $1,000. Once you hear the keyword for that hour, get on over to foxphlgambler.com and enter to win a grand in your hand. Once again, that's 9 times a day for your chance to win $1,000. Nobody does it like Fox Sports The Gambler in Philly.
Make the most of your summer without stressing your budget. Get the Zip app and pay later. Zip lets you split bigger purchases into smaller payments, online and in-store, almost anywhere Visa is accepted. Learn more at zip.co. Loans through Zip Pay Anywhere and Zip Web Checkout, including any powered by Zip loans, are originated by WebBank.
Do you own or manage a business here in Philadelphia? Are you unsure where to start when it comes to advertising? Well, here's a surprise. Fox Sports The Gambler, your local iHeart station, is the one place you can get it all. Hey, it's Sean Brace, and we can help with everything from radio and podcast ads to social media and digital. And we can even get local voices like mine spreading the word about your business. So if you're looking for someone to take care of it all, do yourself a favor right now. Call 844-844-iHeart or visit iHeartAdvertising.com today.
Stay tuned to Fox PHL The Gambler for the latest CEOs you should know.
Michael Delbane, the president and CEO of Welcome America.
Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
I want to learn how to cook, but I keep ordering takeout.
Accomplishing goals is hard, but when your goal is to learn a new language, Babbel makes it easy. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel will help you start having conversations in as little as 3 weeks. Words and phrases you'll actually use. So when someone asks, "How's your French going?" you can say,
Babbel facilite grandement l'apprentissage d'une nouvelle langue.
Now save up to 50% on your Babbel subscription at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
The new Dell AI PC with Intel Core Ultra helps you fast forward through busy work like editing images, summarizing meeting notes, and responding to Jim's long emails, leaving more time for you time. Get a new Dell AI PC starting at $699.99 at Dell.com/AI-PC.
Here's what's trending on the iHeart Sports Network, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Major League Baseball's All-Star Game, it was decided by its first-ever swing-off to break a tie after 9 innings. The National League then won it. The Phillies' Kyle Schwarber clubbed 3 homers in the extra round to earn MVP honors after going 0 for 2 with a walk as the NL's designated hitter. And midweek MLS action's on tap tonight with the Eastern Conference leading Union hosting Montreal. Philly coming off a win over the Red Bulls. I'm Scott Davidson.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 or older. Age and eligibility vary by jurisdiction.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Heads up, we've got a crash in the eastbound Vine Expressway. Take out the right lane near the Parkway, and traffic is crawling Schuylkill. Past that accident seen to Broad Street. Westbound crawling A Street up to the Schuylkill Merge. Westbound Schuylkill Jan, University to Jawarden Boulevard to Belmont. Eastbound Stop and Go Blue Route to Belmont, Montgomery Drive to South. That way northbound backed up Girard to Bridge. Southbound Jack Hopman to the Betsy Ross. And then Ridley Park to Highland Avenue, where we just got rid of a crash. Lara Tutela, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
There's a lot of reasons to shop at Macy's, but here's one you might not know about. Macy's has free personal stylists to help you find the perfect looks for summer. They're experts who know more than just the latest trends. They know how to find the fits, sizes, and designers that are perfect for you. Even better, get an extra 20% off the items you find at your first session. Book your free appointment in-store or at Macys.com/personal stylist. Savings off regular and already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
You work hard to provide for yourself and your family, and that's why identity theft is so scary. Not only does it pose a threat to your financial well-being, everything you've worked so hard for, but it's also a danger to your family. Even children can be victims. It's not their money thieves go after, obviously, but their social security number. Fortunately, there's LifeLock. LifeLock monitors millions of data points a second for threats. If your identity is stolen, LifeLock will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Act now and save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com. Use promo code NEWS. Terms apply.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-350-5858. That's 1-800-350-5858. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-350-5858. That's 1-800-350-5858.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Here's what's trending now on the new and improved iHeartRadio app.
You know what they say, time flies when you're having a lot of fun, because can you believe it's already been 1 year of iHeart Women's Sports? It's the go-to spot for stories, wins, and real talk from the biggest names in the game. From the court to the field, even behind the scenes, voices like Sarah Spain, Ashley Harris, and a whole lineup of legends are leading the charge. Check it out and celebrate 1 year of iHeart Women's Sports right now on iHeartRadio.
Explore the latest. Open the free iHeartRadio app and see what's trending now.
Number 1 on your car radio preset and the new and improved iHeartRadio app. WDAS and WD273D Philadelphia is Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, BANG. That's BANG. Enter it now.
FoxPHLGambler.com. Once again, FoxPHLGambler.com right now.
May I have your attention, please?
You're listening to The Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, Philly's first daily sports gambling show.
Let us see the down!
On Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. The action starts here.
Yes, indeed. Daily Ticket with you, riding solo. Coming up at 5 o'clock, we're going to talk some golf. The folks are swinging and ding it. Moose, Mays, and Danielle. And damn it, we got ourselves the final major, the golf season. Royal Portrush. We are going for the Open Championship, also known as the British Open. Yada, yada, yada. People make the same joke every single. I'm still going to call it the British Open. Great write-up by a good friend of the program, Patrick McDonald, who's doing great work over at CBS Sports. And, it is intriguing because you look at what Xander Schauffele did last year. Now, he won 2 out of the 4 majors. But, for somebody not named Scotty, not named Rory, J.J. Spaun is a perfect example who won at Oakmont. You win this tournament, and it changes everything from the way you're viewed in this season. Of course, money made in life, celebrity stat, all of that. You win this tournament, this final major, and literally it changes your world. It flips it upside down. Now, again, that's anybody but Scotty and Rory. And maybe we could probably put 1 or 2 other guys in there. John Rahm would have changed his. Maybe not. I don't know. But ultimately, man, this is the final shot of the year to win an outing of substance. I know that there are a couple with the playoffs in the BMW Championship, so on and so on, with those final 3 at the end of the year. That's all great, but man, there's nothing like those majors. So who will win the Open Championship? Let's fire up DraftKings Sportsbook and take a look at some of the odds here, and specifically trying to find 1 or 2 wagers that we believe in, and not named Scotty Scheffler, because that's the easy way. And Rory is one of those guys too, as well, where it's would you be surprised if either one of them were able to get the job done this weekend? Now, for my money, I'm looking at Rory being the guy, and played really well in the Genesis this past weekend. No shock there. Just getting things going, and probably has been the golfer of the year. Is that fair? Am I off on that? Who's been the best player all season? It's Scotty or Rory. That's it. I would probably lean Rory. I would. Maybe I'm off on that. Maybe we need a little bit dig a little bit deeper into the numbers. But just to sit here right now, Rory's had a great season, and with everything that's been put on his plate, I got some Scotty Scheffler cuts that I know you've seen already, where he's wrestling with the fact of what it is to even play professional golf and win an event, and so on and so forth. Maybe we'll get into that in a little bit. But Scheffler is your odds-on favorite right now, plus 450 on DraftKings Sportsbook. And don't laugh, because there have been plenty of times that he's been less as far as the payout is concerned, and he has delivered. So if somebody was to tell me, you know what, I'm going to place a wager on Scotty Scheffler, I'll take the plus 450. I don't hate it. I just think it's the easiest way to go about it, and it's not something that we're trying to do here. But at the end of the day, I would not argue. Let's just put it that way. Rory is at plus 750. That would be the number one play that I would have. But again, as I said, not going to go Scotty or Rory. So maybe you might be saying, well, Sean, if you're going to take John Rahm, who is the third favorite here, that's pretty much the same, right? Yeah, I could get down with that. But all in all, it's 12-1. So there's your difference as far as the numbers are concerned, plus 1,200. So I like John Rahm to get the job done. And Rahm has been playing really well in the Live Tour, plays well, obviously, in all major tournaments. And then again, over to Patrick McDonald's article, the fact is that Europe has treated John Rahm kindly, as he is an Irish Open winner and a consistent contender in the Open, with 4 top 11s in his last 5 appearances. 12-1 to pay out. Again, Rahm, would it shock you if he did win? No. I think that this is probably limited to 6 or 7 golfers that will have the opportunity to win it. Tough course, a lot of pressure, and you just have to be consistent for 4 straight days in that environment. Again, I don't know what type of weather we're looking at, but I would assume we're going to get some sort of precipitation, number one, and wind and all that. Can't wait to tune in. Crack of dawn, bright and early. We got some golf going off. Again, I think the odds boards is off at 1:30. I don't know what the first tee time is, but it's really good and really fun. Just like last week, when you wake up, you got Genesis Open. I was able to tune into that bright and early. Same thing with the Open Championship here. Again, like I said, with the fact that I could get to 6 golfers that I think would have a chance at winning this, Scheffler, Rory, Rahm, Xander, I'm even struggling for the 6. Like, I don't want to put Hovland on there, but it wouldn't shock me if he was in the conversation, because we know what his ability is. Oberg is a guy that people have been high on, but Shane Lowry is a guy that people could talk themselves into, no doubt about it. Here's a name, though, that really struck a chord with me, and I'm not going to sit here and say that he could win it, but I wouldn't mind taking a flyer on, say, a top 20, top 10, top 20 plus 450, top 10, 11-1 to win it, 80-1. And I'm talking about the great Adam Scott. He's played well this year. He is so consistent. Nothing bothers him. I'm a huge fan of Adam Scott over the years, no doubt about it. If he can go ahead and get that putter going, that's the ultimate difference. And you can say that about anybody, right? But you just know what you're getting with Adam Scott. He's so consistent, so pure, and nothing bothers him at all. So I like Adam Scott, and he's a crowd favorite. Everybody loves him all over the globe. It's a guy that I root for, full disclosure. I like Justin Thomas. I like Adam Scott. So I would not be shocked if he played well this weekend and was like a top 10. And 11-1, I think that's a nice little payday. So that's going to be a wager that I will have on Adam Scott to finish in the that's top 5. Damn. Top 10 plus 450. All right, so I got that wrong. Plus 450 on the top 10. We'll play that. We'll play top 10 plus 450 for Adam Scott. John Rahm outright 12-1. Those are my 2 plays for the Open. Oh yeah. Ha! Ha! Pour me a Guinness. Let's get some Irish whiskey going. It's the Open Championship at Royal Portrush, the final major of the season in Northern Ireland. First time since 2019. Only the 3rd time the Open has ever been held outside of Scotland or England. How about that, sports fans? All right, keeping it moving. Other things that are happening in the world of sports, the Philadelphia Union back in action this evening, and off of a nice victory by the boys in blue. They're at home tonight, 7:30 p.m., taking on Montreal. Union are minus 230 favorites here. Montreal 5-1. You can always get that draw, plus 350. Pulling up the MLS standings, looking at what Montreal has been able to do this season. Again, Philadelphia top of the chart with 43 points in the Eastern Conference. Montreal, not exactly a good team. They are all the way directly on the bottom of the conference here with 15 total points. My goodness, what a disaster of a year for Montreal. Wow. Again, 43 for Philadelphia at the top. Montreal, 15 total points in the season with 22 matches played. Boys in Blue return to the pitch back at home. Looking forward to that tonight. Minus 230 for the Union, so it better be a victory. And oh, by the way, brand new X's and the U coming your way tomorrow with Sebastian Latou, Matty G, and Adam Booth. You can get all of our podcasts at foxphlgambler.com. At foxphlgambler.com. All right. There's an article out there about Joel Embiid, and it's getting a lot of pub, and it's a good write-up. Like, I haven't read it in full detail, so I'm not going to go too crazy here. But gentleman's name is Dotan Akintoye, if I'm not mistaken. If I got that right, apologize if I didn't. I have no idea who he is, but he writes for ESPN, and he was able to get an in with Joel Embiid. And it is a long, long read, talking about everything from the health, who he's dealing with, very open as far as, the conversation is concerned, talking about James Harden, how he doesn't even still talk to him. Like, he goes in a lot. Sam Hankey's mentioned in this article. It is absurd how long this article is. To tell you the truth, I don't think I could fit this in a full segment. I really don't. All right, so I can't even give a real good breakdown on this because this thing is so long. I'm still scanning. Still. I don't know. It doesn't give me pages, but it is just ridiculous how long this is. If you missed it earlier, I will just say this, and I know that we're going to write these think pieces, especially this time of year, and I don't have an issue with that. But I'm about as big as of a Joel Embiid fan as it gets. And it pained me last year when I was right. And I said that his body is cooked. And I didn't think he had 30 games in him last year, and he did it. And now where we're at right now, I don't have even like that type of positive outlook on it, right? 30 games. I have the ultimate pessimistic view when it comes to Joel Embiid. I think this is going to be a really tough sledding for him over the next few years to close out this contract. And when it comes to the discussion about Daryl Morey, and I know that it's real easy for me to sit here and say, like, hey, man, you had to give Joel Embiid that contract. You had to, right? You're not going to get rid of him. You're not going to trade him. You got to give him that contract. And oh, by the way, if you do, we've seen teams get out of these contracts before, although things have changed a lot with the aprons and all that nonsense. So it's not as easy to get out of these contracts, but still it's the NBA. Look at what Bradley Beal just happened, whatever. He just signed with the Clippers. I am stuck in the what have you done for me lately mind frame where it's like, I don't have time to look at Joel Embiid and be rah-rah right now. I just don't. Last year was so disappointing that it made me like ill to watch a game. And now you could say, well, Joel wasn't out there. But again, you know what it all encompasses everything together. And JoJo is the piece. He is the big piece to the puzzle here. And we know it. And if he's not healthy, this team is not going to compete for anything worth the damn. And that's the way it's looking like it's going to be this year. In this article, he says he's not going to come back unless he is ready. He's healthy. There is a part in this article where he talks about, I wish somebody for the team kept me out in that series against the Knicks. And it's just, I got to be fully honest with you and tell you that, like, it's rubbing me the wrong way. And again, I got to read the full article because it goes in, and I'm not trying to make this out to be, something that it's not. Maybe I might even get it wrong because I didn't read the whole damn thing. But at the end of the day, the, building up a Joel Embiid, I don't need it. Maybe some do. Maybe people need to be reminded of how great he was. People need to be reminded of how much of a warrior he was to compete how often hurt he was and still went out there, even though he missed all those games, that's fine. That's for them, and they could give you that opinion that they were wrong. I have never been wrong about Joel Embiid. I've been number one in his corner this whole time. Never wanted to get rid of him. Never could get rid of him. Never wanted to trade him. I thought you were an idiot if you would have traded him after his MVP season. Never been wrong about anything Joel Embiid. And I can't say that about certain athletes. I really can't. Like, he's the one guy that I've been spot on with this whole damn time. From the time he was drafted to when the Sixers ended up pulling the number for him and getting that pick, he was the guy. And I know it was winless for Wiggins that year, but I was saying Joel Embiid looks like what he was doing in that limited time with Kansas was blowing me away. And then you saw that what was it, the warm-up video, or it was in Cleveland State. I think he even got hurt in that workout video, if I'm not mistaken. But it was just like, that's the guy right there. But here we are. And when you drafted Joel Embiid, and what I did say then, and it's what I'm saying now, a guy of that size is going to lose out the father time probably sooner than later. And he's 31 years old. And I think the Sixers have gotten a ton out of Joel Embiid. He's been here for a long, long time. But I can't get down with the rah-rah stuff right now. This team, this franchise is a disaster. And the contracts that you gave to Paul George and Joel Embiid 2 years ago, and specifically speaking about Daryl Morey, are going to blow up if they haven't already. And I don't know if this team isn't going to be able to win with the players because, you'd like to believe that Nick Nurse is a good coach. When they hired him, I was saying it. Last year left a lot of emptiness, a lot of void with that statement. But where I'm at right now, everything is fresh. It's new. You get Maxey, you get McCain, you get some young guns in here. They have some decent pieces. And I think it's about being simple, having a simple approach to this upcoming season where we're talking about just being entertaining, watching the games, playing hard, allowing Maxey to take the baton, building these young players up, seeing the athleticism front and center, and maybe getting to the playoffs. We talked about that a ton last year. Oh, how bad the East is, and anybody makes the playoffs? Sure. Well, the Sixers did not. They should this year. If everybody stays healthy from those young guns, I do think that they will be competing for a playoff spot. And that's all I can ask for at this point in time. But the whole Joel Embiid and trying to build them up, I don't need that. I don't need that. And, I'm sure that people will take, those words and probably have a take or two on them, but that's how I feel. I'm good on the Joel Embiid think pieces right now where we're supposed to praise him. I've been doing it all along. He's been one of, if not the best player in the damn league. He didn't get that MVP award because he didn't deserve it and everybody had Joker fatigue. No, he was the MVP of the league in that damn year. Like I said, been spot on about JoJo. Here we are now. The reality of where we're at, it's ugly. And I don't think that anything is going to improve. I can't even believe on Monday, after I got done doing that hit with Sam Oster, where we discussed specifically that there will be times this season where Paul George will not be out there. And look, I don't think we are stating the obvious. I don't think we're stating anything that nobody thought would be a possibility. He's 35 years old. I think we needed to temper those expectations the first day he signed the contract, and even more so now. And I do feel for him. Again, like I get it. It's not what we wanted. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. But he's here and he's getting their surgery and he's not going to be ready. And when he does come back in the middle of the season, what exactly are you getting for Paul George? We're going to have to go through that song and dance. Oh, you got to ramp him up. Got to get him. You got to get him healthy. He's not that good. He's not that player anymore. So it's just been a disaster of a situation that Daryl Morey has brought on by bringing in Paul George, give him a 4-year deal, and of course, rewarding Joel Embiid for everything he's been through with the Sixers organization and giving him a new contract. We'll see how it plays out, though. Bold strategy, as they say. All right, the NBA, again, we talked a lot of Sixers in the past few weeks, which is pretty funny because, all season long, there wasn't anything that I really wanted to get into too much when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers. But at the end, the NBA has done a great job. Do want to point out, though, Bradley Beal, though, we talked a little bit about this. Bradley Beal is now joining the Clippers. And if you listen to the show before me, which is Colin Cowherd, Jason McIntyre, who's his producer / sports anchor update host, and he likes to say some things from time to time to get a reaction, but he was making the case that he feels like if Bradley Beal was with the Lakers, you can go ahead and start talking about the Lakers potentially being a championship contender. And I think with a Luka that will be motivated, and hopefully that is the case from everything that's took place this offseason, of course, being traded from Dallas, and oh, by the way, playing with LeBron James, I do think that the Lakers were going to be somewhat contenders. I didn't think that they were going to win it all last year, but I did think they showed flashes. They played well against all the great teams. The Oklahoma City Thunder, I think they beat them. The Denver Nuggets, they played well against. Like, Lakers are the Lakers. With LeBron out there, no doubt. But they didn't get him. They didn't get Bradley Beal. And I wasn't too high on Beal going to the Lakers, to be honest with you. I don't think Bradley Beal's that good of a player. And I might be wrong on that. He could prove me wrong. But at the end of the day, man, what did he do with Phoenix? It was a bad spot. Bad stop for Bradley Beal. He underperformed in every opportunity he had with the Phoenix Suns. So they got out of that deal, which was a 5-year deal. They waived and stretched the remaining money on his contract, and he only played 2 seasons. So now he joins the Clippers, and it's one of those deals where it's like, all right, just continue to add these big name players to help James Harden and Kawhi Leonard. The addition of Beal, I get it. They ended up making the move. They traded Norman Powell, and now you got the potential for a big lineup in there with everybody like we just discussed. But I don't look at Bradley Beal as a championship player, someone that's going to come in and fill the role and be the good player and be a good teammate. I just don't think that this is a championship type of move for the LA Clippers. And I never looked at the Clippers too much as a contender, but there were moments last year where, you know what, you were saying to yourself, like, could the Clippers be potentially a team that you don't want to face? And they had the opportunity and they didn't show up. And they ended up losing that first series to Denver, if I'm not mistaken. It was a series that I wanted to see the Clippers win. But even point blank, if you give Clippers Bradley Beal last year, I still don't think that they win that series. Clippers right now to win the West on DraftKings Sportsbook didn't really move much. They're 14-1. You got 6 teams in front of them, including the Golden State Warriors, Lakers, T-Wolves, Nuggets, Rockets, and Oklahoma City Thunder. NBA front and center with all these moves in the offseason. Not exactly the crazy offseason that Shams was kind of putting out there a couple months ago, but you know what? It does have us talking about it. And Summer League rolling on right now. Haven't paid too much attention to the Summer League. Did see Janai Broom have himself a good day yesterday, which is great to see. But all in all, the NBA has done a great job capitalizing on the drama of the league and, of course, the trades and everything like that in the offseason. All right, we'll keep it moving. Daily Ticket rolling on here. We hit a little bit from the All-Star game yesterday, and we did have some controversy when it comes to the world of sports books paying out a game on the money line. Yeah, the All-Star game struck up some controversy in the sports gambling world. I'll give you those details on the other side. It's the Daily Ticket. More after this.
It's the Daily Ticket with Sean Brace, 3 to 6 p.m. Monday to Friday.
The Phillies are officially at the break, and I've got one question for Phillies fans. Why so sour? This team is atop the division, 14 games over 500, and boasts one of, if not the best pitching staffs in all of baseball. Are they perfect? No. But take a look around the league and tell me which team outside the Dodgers you'd rather be right now than the Titans. I'll wait. Exactly. There isn't one. A top-tier hitting team with a solid defense, a group that's battled through key injuries, and a squad that knows how to win close games, even without the long ball flying out of the ballpark like past seasons. The postseason, that's a toss-up. Always has been. But right now isn't October. It's July. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride. This is one of the best teams in baseball.
If you can wager on it, we're talking about it right here on The Gambler.
My station, baby! Our iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One, is back in Vegas.
T-Mobile Arena.
September 19th and 20th. Streaming live only on Hulu. 15 artists, 2 nights, 1 stage. Get tickets now at AXS.com.
Get your laundry Vegas ready with Arm & Hammer Power Sheets. Just toss in a detergent sheet. No drips, no plastic jugs, no mess. Arm & Hammer is a proud sponsor of the iHeartRadio Music Festival. Clean up before you turn up. Shop Arm & Hammer Power Sheets now.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
We've got a big backup on the PA Turnpike, westbound Jan Willow Grove, out to Mid-County with an accident now on the shoulder, but attracting attention. Jan up on the Blue Route, northbound 95 to McDade with a crash on the shoulder. Southbound delays approaching Broomall to Media Swarthmore. Eastbound Schuylkill Heavy, Blue Route to Belmont and Montgomery Drive to South. Westbound Jan, University to Girard City to Belmont. And so glad with the Conshohocken. 95 northbound back to Girard to Bridge. Southbound Jan Cotman to the Betsy Ross. And Ridley Park to the Commodore Barry. Lara Totella, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
The last thing anyone wants is to leave behind confusion, stress, or worse, family conflict. That's why estate planning isn't just for the wealthy. It's for families like mine, and probably like yours. With Trust and Will, I created my estate plan in minutes, from naming guardians for my kids to putting our house in a trust to avoid probate. Fast, affordable, and way easier than I thought. Every plan is designed by estate planning attorneys and customized for your state. Plans start at just $199 and include essentials like healthcare directives and power of attorney. With Trust and Will's bank-level security and built-in privacy protections, your personal information and your wishes stay safe. Whether you're newly married, raising kids, caring for aging parents, or just want peace of mind, Trust and Will makes it easy to protect what matters most. Go to trustandwill.com, use code RADIO at checkout, and save 20% on your personalized plan. Because there's no better time to protect the people you love. Trust and Will is an online estate planning service. See website for details.
Hi, Zoe Saldana. Welcome to T-Mobile. Here's your new iPhone 16 Pro on us.
Thanks. And here's my old phone to trade in.
You don't need a trade-in. When you switch to T-Mobile, we'll give you a new iPhone 16 Pro. Plus, we'll help you pay off your old phone up to $800, and you still get to keep it.
There's always a trade-in.
Not right now at T-Mobile.
I feel like I have to give you something in return for karma.
That's okay.
I don't really have much in my purse. Oh, let's see. Hand sanitizer. It's lavender.
I'm good. Seriously.
Let me check this pocket. Oh, mints?
Really, I'm fine.
Oh, I have raisins. I'm a mom. Wait 1 sec. I've got cupcakes in the car.
It's our best iPhone offer ever. Switch to T-Mobile. Get a new iPhone 16 Pro with Apple Intelligence on us. No trade-in needed. We'll even pay off your phone up to $800.
With 24 monthly bill credits, new line $100 plus a month and experience beyond finance agreement $999.99 and qualifying for it. For well qualified plus tax and $10 connection charge. Pay off via virtual prepaid card. Allow 15 days. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. See T-Mobile.com.
I have heart failure, and being out of breath all the time was just too much.
My lower back pain was interrupting family time. My carpal tunnel syndrome was taking me away from work. That's why I talked to my cardiologist about my symptoms.
That's why I talked to my cardiologist.
That's why I talked to my cardiologist and discovered I had ATTR-CM, or transthyretin cardiac amyloidosis.
If you have heart failure and new or worsening symptoms, it could be ATTR-CM. ATTR-CM is a serious heart condition often accompanied by other non-heart-related symptoms. Talk to your cardiologist today and see what's possible. Vindamax, tafamidis, is a prescription pill taken once a day to treat adults with ATTR-CM to reduce death and hospitalization for heart problems. Tell your doctor about all your medications, medical conditions, and if you have liver problems or breastfeeding, pregnant, or plan to be. There are no known side effects with Vindamax. For prescribing information, call 1-877-278-9632. Learn more at Vindamax.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey,
Hey, man, you all right? Need me to call 911? No, call Top Dog Law. Get top dollar for your accident at topdoglaw.com. Once again, that's topdoglaw.com. Coming down the home stretch here, swinging and ding it. Coming up next, all things Open Championship with Moose, Mays, Danielle, heading to Northern Ireland. Haven't got the bug yet to head out there. I do, I do have the jealousy kick in when they open up the season for college football, right? We got Kansas State, Iowa State. I think that's the first game this year in Ireland. And then last year we had Navy and Georgia Tech. Wasn't that the game? No. It was Florida State and Georgia Tech. I think Navy was the year before. Anyways, if I'm messing that up, but which was a great game. Yeah, we had the upset in that one. But I haven't had like that drive. Like, man, I got to get to Ireland. And it's beautiful. I can only imagine it would make you emotional walking around that place. But I haven't had man, I'm still locked into the beach, man. If you give me vacation, you give me the opportunity, Italy is a place I've always wanted to go to, no doubt. But man, I'm still just put me in the Bahamas. There's nothing better than the Bahamas, dude. The Bahamas is the best. It's a quick flight. You feel like you're in wherever you want. Turks and Caicos, Aruba. But like I said, it's a hop, skip, and a jump, and you're there. That's what I love about the Bahamas. And I've been to Aruba a lot. But I would take Bahamas over a lot. Anyways, maybe one year I'll get out to Ireland. I'm sure it'd be great. Have a couple Guinnesses out there. Play some golf. That would be great. That would be great to get out there and see exactly how those links courses work live and in person. But ultimately, not on the radar at this point in time in my life. We'll see what happens there. But I'm sure that they'll be discussing all things Open Championship coming your way. Swinging and dinging on the other side. Oh, by the way, 6 o'clock, football is king. McClay and Beef talking some NFC. Football is king year-round. We talk football right here on The Gambler. Nick McClay, Ryan Beef Coyle at 6 p.m. They'll take over the airwaves at that point in time. All right, like I said, coming down the home stretch, closing up shop here. Did have a little bit of an issue last night. I don't know if you were able to catch this, but in the Major League Baseball All-Star game, again, it was all tied up at 9, or after 9 innings, tied up at 6. And it required the first ever home run swing off that our own Kyle Schwarber ended up getting the job done for the National League. This is how it sounded.
Schwarber in the air to center field, headed towards the wall, and dead center. That's huge for the National League. They're within 1. So there you go. He said if he could get it on his first swing, and he did. Oh, Schwarber's in the All-Star game. Oh, tied at 3. That's MVP material if he gets the third one right here. AL rallied in the game. NL has rallied in the swing. Oh, with the hat trick. Look out, Chop House. National League takes the lead 4-3.
Love the Lookout Chop House. And, balls were flying all over the place.
as far as in the All-Star game. It was a pretty good All-Star game, right? Entertaining. Anyway, Schwarber ended up winning the MVP. You heard it right there, 40-1 plus 4,000. Now, putting that to the side, let's talk about the money line here and why it was an issue for some sports books, because you got to read the fine print. Not an issue for sports books. It's an issue for people who don't read the fine print when it comes to certain games like that. And yes, majority of the games are won or lost in regulation or extra innings, extra time, whatever it is. But something like this, where it's an exhibition, you just never know. A lot like preseason football, you run into this sort of thing, or summer league hoops, some stuff like that. And so I don't think people were putting crazy money, but you do know that there are people out there that are like, what's the only thing to wager on? Let's have a play here on the National League or the American League. But here's the deal. Circus Sports and Caesars ruled the money line bet a push due to the fact of the fine print. It's how sports books grade the wagers, and they're very upfront. I know the folks over there at Circus Sports very well, and they often talk about this. Read the fine print. Know what your sports book operator has, your rules from the sports books when you are wagering on said games. Again, $25, $50, you're not too worried about it, no doubt, but there are people out there that probably had $5,000 wager on it. Now you're talking about some money that would have been nice in your pocket with a National League victory. Instead, you get the push. You didn't lose, but you get the push. But then the flip side, you could have the American League, which was a loss, and you end up getting the push there. So it works both ways on that one. However, FanDuel and DraftKings Sportsbook did grade it for a win for the National League. So bottom line is always read the fine print. Finally, I do want to end on this one. I thought it was pretty cool for the ABS challenge system to be right there front and center and be successful the way that it did. So if you watched the game last night, you saw Skubal, the specific incident, specific situation, was Machado and Skubal. It was a ball, called ball. Skubal taps the hat, boom. 18 seconds later, pops up on the Jumbotron, boom. You see it, ball's in the zone, strike. And I love it. And I think for people out there that are reluctant to go into the robot world when it comes to umpires, there it was. Case in point, it works, it's quick, and it's easy. And on top of it, it does not steal the suspense. That's the big key component for me, is that the suspense is still there. If you watch tennis, it's the same technology. But if you don't, essentially what it's going to do is going to show the ball, slow motion, get into that zone, boom. It will hit the square. If it's a square, you can see it. If it touches the square, it's a strike. If it doesn't, it's a ball. That easy. And I think if you give me a 3-2 count, bases loaded, or runners on second, third, 2 outs, whatever it may be, and you get that situation to a batter, next thing you know, whether, hey, man, he gets called strike 3, and he's like, no, challenge it. I think that's suspense. I think that's pretty cool. So the only frustrating thing is why Major League Baseball doesn't have it in their games today. Make it happen today. That right there. And that's not robot. That's assistance. That's not robot umpires. That's not a robot strike zone. And that's what will be the next thing. It's like, well, if we can get all these calls, right, why don't we do them all? I get it. I understand it. But these umpires, it's a difficult job, and majority are hitting at 93% accuracy, if not more, except for Phil Cuzzy. But even then, I think he's right around that mark, to be fair to him. But I think you give that element into Major League Baseball, especially when we're talking playoff games. Come on, man. Manfred, you're a guy that can make things happen. Go ahead and do that in the world of baseball. All right, Commish. All right, fun show today. Tomorrow, live in studio with Sam Ostry. Natalie Eganoff will join us in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk all things Philly sports with Nat. And have some fun tomorrow. Tomorrow, Julian Edlow is going to join us live from Vegas. He's out there watching the Summer League, also doing a hit. I heard him this afternoon on VSiN. So we'll talk some NFL and some college football, because I'm sure he's got some wagers going on. And he's got a new situation going on that he's a part of out there in Boston. The Boston Sports Handicappers, I want to say, is the name. So make sure you tune in tomorrow. Julian will join us at 3:30. As I said, Sam will be in studio full show, and it will be a great show. Simply to go off of the Joel Embiid article that I will read a little bit later tonight. Swing It and Ding It is next. Football is king, coming up at 6 o'clock with Beef and McClay. Don't touch that dial. Keep it locked right here to The Gambler. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.
Dan Patrick, 9 to noon.
Brett Brown joins us.
Colin Cowherd from noon to 3.
The Sixers are amazing.